Good afternoon, everyone. مساء الخير. إعارة باش. Hope you are all doing good. Today's class is more about how to analyze the data. We took in the previous classes how to clear our data, checking for duplicate, managing the data, converting them from text to number and things like this, sorting and filtering, those things you took it. So now we are moving to what? We are moving to how to analyze this data that we already got it. It's so easy by using something which we call it, or it is exists in our Microsoft Excel, and it's called pivot table. So how to use pivot table and how to deal with pivot table. In general, pivot table is also a normal table, but we are introducing it to our Microsoft Office, that this is a range of table and range of data that we are trying to analyze it according to what is required on us. So let's start. First, we have to go to the ribbon of insert. Here we are just going anywhere on the table that it contains the data. I'm just clicking, normally I'm just clicking on the first cell on column A. Then I will click on what? I will click on table. I will tell the Microsoft Office that this is the table, or this is the range of data that I have. Just look at it right now. Then after clicking on the table, it will tell us that it starts from A1 to K27. So this is K and this is 27. So we are good now. And it will ask us if our first row is the heading. Yes, it is the heading because I have the heading here. So I will say, okay. Now I see it convert my data, and I see it from here that the start and end being selected and being creating our table according to what we asked for. And this is the table that we have. So I see here the name of the table here is as it is without changing anything, and I don't need to do anything here. So what I will do, I will just go back to insert and say, I want to make this table to, or I would to convert this table to a pivot table. So I will do clicking on this. Then it shows, we show that after it will be a sort of chaos. So I don't like this. I want these things to be clear and to be well organized. So what I will do, I will say, okay, just keep it in a new sheet, and that's it. I will say, okay. Now it shows me that there's a new worksheet here. This is the previous worksheet where we kept our data in. And then the second one is about the pivot table. Great. Till now, we are good. So here, what we are doing, we are just clicking on analyze and then going to the data. Here, I can choose the data that I want to show, or I want to do the analyze on it. For example, what I need here, I want to know the origin of the carpet that is exist. Also, I want to know the base of the data of the carpets base type. Then I need the number in the stock. So I see it right now clearly that it shows me we have what? We have the Belgium and then wool, which is these two are combined together. If I want to keep them separately, what I will do, simply, I'm just coming here and click on any of them, which one I want to put it into to the column. I will just click and drag and drop and put it into the column. Simple like this. So now I see this is the origin, and then this is the type: cotton, silk, and wool. So all of them are being each of them is like uh, being placed into a different column, and the rest of the data, which is the origin, are in the row section, because here we put them like this. So this is the row section and this is the column section. What I did, I just like dragged and dropped here, or just like this, drag and drop. So you could just move the data how you want to be. So simple like this is totally fine. And what I have here, I have the value and the total of the value as well. And also I have the grand total. Okay, so that's the way we are dealing with the pivot table. Well, if I want to add more data, what I will do, I'm just coming here and choose any of them. So I will choose the design. So the design is going to be part of the countries because it's going to the row. If I want to put them in the column, I will just drag and drop and put it into the column. It will be part of the uh, base type. So it ups to you, and it also up to the uh, required from your client or from yourself, how you want your result being shown. So this is how we are dealing with the data. So we see here this sign, which is mean that we have a group. So when we are combining two datas or two heading in one row or in one column, it will group in them. So the first one, it will be the container, and the second one, it will be part in the container. So the first one, it will be as a container. So we see here the origin is a container. So if I want to change their position, so I could just drag and drop and then put the design as a container and the origin be part of the container. So we are grouping them in this way. So these two are being grouped. So this is the group that we are talking about. These, or let's say the design, are the container. While we are clicking here, we see the countries that they have this sort of things according to the basic type of the carpet. So I could do something really easy. I could just drag and drop this also into the row. So all of them are being into the containers, and each of them are having the data that are grouped together. So let's see. Now the cotton, I see here there's antique, classic, and modern. Why? Because we have first, we have the base type. Second, we have the design. And third, we have the country. So I'm sure while I'm clicking here, there's something inside this container as well, because it's a container in a container. So I clicked, I see, yeah, there's a country here. Also, I'm clicking, there's 3 countries here. I'm clicking, there's 3 as well. Each of these container, when we are just like expanding them, I see that there's more information in each of the containers, and I could just deal with them according to what I look for. So also I could change the place of the container as well. I could just make this the first container or the main container, and the base type be the second container, just by default. could just like move it, one of them to the top, and have one container here and the other be in a column. So as well, I could just add a container or another data to the column. So now I see the column also has another container, which is yes or no, and the data is showing this way. So this is the easiest way to analyze your data, and it's so user friendly. It's extremely easy and it's extremely helpful um, for you if you want to just make any sort of analyze. Now, if I want to remove any of them, or I will just come here and say remove, or in another way, I will just come here, or just like on the data, I will just click, let's say the type. I don't need it, so I will just remove them. And simple like this, just by clicking on the checkbox next to it, you could just change or add or remove any sort of data that you want. Now, if they ask me to visualize this chart, this table, how to do it, I will just click on the pivot table, because pivot chart. So because I'm um, using the pivot table, so for sure I have the pivot chart. So clicking here, I could pick the type that I want of the chart, or the style that I could choose. I will just choose this one and I'll say okay. Now I see all my data is here and it's clear without any problem. I could just do filtering from here, or I could do filtering from here about the countries, or I could just do the filtering from here as well. Because as we see, we have like move to report filter, and you could just filter the data according to what we want. This is how we are dealing with. So if we are going to design, I could see that there's many sort of style that I could use for my data. Or what I could do, I could just go to page layout, and from here, choose any sort of design for my data without any problem and without any issue. As you see, the color are changing according to the style that I'm picking here from the color. So yes, you could just pick something that it suits you, or you prefer. And also about the theme, I could just change the theme to the theme that I want. So without any problem and without any issue. So this is how we are dealing with the data here, and also about the styles. In the analyze, we have many things here which we could talk about them separately and mention each of them according to the information that we have. So first, I could just talk about the 1 minute, guys. Yeah, yep. Sorry, guys. It was something urgent, so I had to answer um, their question. So, yep. ما مصاب بناردو أي لقطة أنا تطبيقك كايتر نازم قصي أم بابا ثلاث شيء ما جماعتي بيانيان زور أسايل لقلا روشنو هيس كشي كان نبو guys, like there's nothing to be difficult about this. We just doing clicking. There's nothing else. Just like click and remove things, bring new things to your data. Um, just simple like this. You could just use anything that you prefer according to your information. So I don't know, like what's difficult about this information on the or about this data. There's nothing that much of difficulty in it. So if you want, like, okay, just sample like this, let's remove this, delete it. I will do it from the very beginning. We said that after we convert our data to table, what we are doing, we are just going to pivot table, click here. Now we have the data that we already converted to a table. So it's just asking us, are we are sure that we want to deal with this data? Yes, we are sure. So what we are doing, we are just saying, okay, now I have this new sheet to this new worksheet to work on it. So what I'm doing, I'm just picking from here the data or the heading that I want to be part of my analyze. So what I'm choosing as an example, I could just use the design with the origin, and then I need some sort of number data. So what I'm choosing, I'm just choosing this time, I could just choose the price. So here I have the prices and I have the countries and things like this. So if I want to change those sort of grouping, I could just take one of them as an example. I will just take the design. I will put them into the column, because we saw here it said columns and here it says rows. So I could just deal with them separately, or I could just keep them together or combine them together and seeing that it being grouped. So each of these, the first one, which is the design, is going to be a container for the second heading, and the data from this heading is going to be inside the first one. So if I add something else, let's say if I add the um, base type, so it's going to be part of this, and also this is going to be part of the other. I could just like move them and change the container. This is the first container, this is the second container, and then the third one, which is the country. Or I could just keep two containers and keep the other into the column this way, which is so simple and so easy. Then if I want to visualize this data, what I will do, I'm just checking the pivot chart, clicking on this, and then from here, I could just pick how I want the data to be shown. So it's simple like this. So I'll just pick any of them and say, okay, now I could change the design of this one and put it into normal one. Then as well, I could just change the format of this one and pick another format. I don't know any of these. Well, let's keep it this way. So this is the data, and this is what we have it here. So it shows that these two are the modern, which is the first container, the antique, classic, and modern, and then the data from heading origin are the countries. Then what we have wool, silk, and cotton, which is on the column section, are being taken as the bars, which is normal. This is like how we are dealing with the data. So we see that it is simple like this, and we can see the difference and see how the data are the data being arranged. So if I want to choose something for slicing these data, what we are doing, slicing is mean like chopping or cutting. So I'm just clicking here, and according to those lists, which is we have it, I could just pick any of the data that I choose it already to slice my information with. So let's see the design. Just okay. So now, according to the design, I could just pick which one I want to be showing here, or which one can be graphically shown on my chart or on my data. Also, I could use another slicer as an example, the origin. I'll say, okay, now by using these two together, combining these two together, for example, I'm using antique and then antique from Russia. So it shows me how the data from antique from Russia are being organized. And then let's say it from Persian. So it's also showing me the data from Persian. Or if I want to see the classic, um, so from Persian, we have like two types, cotton and wool. So also for the other countries, you could just pick and see how it is and how the data being designed. So if I want to remove the filters within the slicer, I will just click this, and then by clicking, right click on this and remove the design, and then again for the other one, I'm just right clicking and remove the origin. So it's just removing the data or the slicer. So this is normally how we are dealing with the slicers. Or I could just from here, instead of using the slicer, I could just use from here the filter according to the, let's say let keep this one according to the origin as well. I could just say, okay, I just need Persian or Pakistan, and see the output of my data. So simply you could just pick and choose using the slicer or using the filter from here. So both of them are doing the same thing for me. So um, I could just use the first one or I could choose the second one without any problem. Now, if I'm going to design, um, let's go back to here. If I'm going to design, I see that there's like uh, how the report I could just show here, um, grand total, how to be shown, and the report layout, how to be shown, because you could just use this for reporting, because I told you that this is analyzing the information. So you could just try the different type of the report and blank rows and things like this. Also, you could just remove the header or keep it, or remove the column heading and keep it. Those things is totally fine. We can just from here pick the style that I prefer for my data, or I could just select them like this and then go into home. From here, I could just give it a border and then changing the um, let's say the style of it from layout, picking any of these style that is exist. It's up to you. Also for the colors, again, you can change the color according to what you prefer the most. So you could just pick the one that you like and then uh, make decision how you want to show your data to people who ask for this analyze. Or if it's for yourself, you could just look at it and then say, okay, this is what I want and this is how I want to deal with this data. Well, about the analyze, here that we can change the name of the pivot table and try it as it is, or I can just like keep this data for myself. For example, I'm just like doing Control C and then opening another uh, worksheet and say Control Alt V. And now here, I don't want anything else, just I want the value and the number format here. So I'll just keep it this way, and I could give it to anyone and they don't know how I dealt with this data. And it's not showing me the pivot table that how I did it. So you could just like give it to anyone that you prefer to uh, let them know about this information and things like this. So yep, this is how you are dealing with the information and with the data, for sure that it's not that difficult, because we already took how you can copy data without taking the whole information, as we did. Like now we just did control C and then we took it there. And again, I could just change this one as well to a table. I'm just clicking here and say okay. So I see the table is changed here to this sort of data table, and it is clearly contain all the information that you want. So yes, this is for today what we have, but I want you all to participate this bit with Mama Sabnar and try your best. And please, if you have any question, ask and don't hesitate to ask with while you are practicing with Mama Sabnar, and she will for sure answer all your questions. And wish you all the best. See you tomorrow, inshallah.